Welcome back to Afro Korean Drama Stories, family. If you're just joining us, let me catch you up real quick. In part 1, Adaeze went to that subway platform to end her life. Instead, she caught a bullet meant for someone else, shot by Kang Min-seok, Seoul's most dangerous crime lord. 4 weeks of captivity turned into something neither of them expected. Stockholm Syndrome? Maybe. But when he kissed her in the middle of a gunfight, when he'd rather burn his empire than let her die, the lines between prisoner and protector completely shattered. Part 1 ended with Adaeze realizing she was falling for the monster who destroyed her life. But what she didn't know? Min-seok's enemy wasn't just Hae-won, and the woman arriving in Seoul with information about her missing sister Chioma? She was connected to Min-seok in ways that would destroy everything. This is part 2, family, and I'm telling you right now, nothing you think you know is safe. Hit that subscribe button because this story is about to get dangerous. Let's go. 3 days after the compound attack, Adaeze woke to find Min-seok gone. Not unusual. He often disappeared for meetings she wasn't privy to, handling the bloody business of keeping his empire intact. What was unusual was the woman sitting in the chair by her window, the chair that was his. A Korean woman, probably mid-30s, beautiful in that cold, calculated way that screamed money and danger. She wore an expensive cream suit, her hair pulled back in a severe bun, and her eyes held the kind of assessment that made Adaeze's skin crawl. "You're awake. Good." The woman's English was perfect, her smile sharp enough to cut. "I'm Han Ji-woo. We need to talk about your sister." Adaeze sat up so fast, her healing shoulder screamed in protest. "Chioma, you know where she is?" "I know what happened to her." Ji-woo crossed her legs, completely comfortable in Adaeze's space like she owned it. "But first you should know that Kang Min-seok isn't the savior you think he is." The door burst open before Adaeze could respond. Min-seok filled the doorway, and the expression on his face was one she'd never seen before. Not anger, fear. Raw, undisguised fear. "Get away from her." His voice was deadly quiet, the kind of quiet that preceded violence. "Now, Ji-woo." "Or what, Min-seok?" Ji-woo didn't even turn to look at him. "You'll shoot me like you shot her? We both know you don't have the stomach to kill me. Not after what we shared." Adaeze felt something cold settle in her chest. What is she talking about? "Nothing that concerns you." Min-seok moved into the room, positioning himself between them. "Ji-woo is leaving. I think it concerns her very much." Ji-woo stood, smoothing her suit. "Tell me, Adaeze, has he mentioned his late wife? No? Interesting." She pulled out a photograph, flicked it onto the bed before Min-seok could intercept. "That's me, 3 years ago, before he destroyed my life." Adaeze looked at the photo. A younger Ji-woo, radiant and smiling, standing beside Min-seok at what looked like a wedding. He was smiling too, genuinely, in a way she'd never seen. The date stamp on the photo confirmed it. 3 years ago. "You were married?" Adaeze's voice came out smaller than she intended. "We're still married." Ji-woo's smile was venomous. "He never filed the divorce papers. Did he tell you that? Or about why I left? About the business he's really in?" "Get out." Min-seok's hand moved to his weapon. "Last warning." "The business your sister discovered." Ji-woo ignored him completely, eyes locked on Adaeze. Chioma didn't just model in Seoul. She was recruited into something else. Something Min-seok's organization facilitates. Human trafficking. Girls from Africa, promised modeling careers, delivered into slavery instead. The room tilted. Adaeze looked at Min-seok, searching his face for denial, for anything that would make this a lie. But his expression had gone completely blank, that stone mask he wore when things got too close to whatever passed for his heart. "Tell me she's lying." Adaeze's voice broke. "Min-seok, tell me my sister wasn't trafficked by your organization." "It's complicated." Those were the wrong words. She saw it register on his face the moment they left his mouth. "Complicated?" Adaeze was off the bed, ignoring the pain in her shoulder. "My sister is missing, possibly dead, and you're telling me it's complicated?" "I didn't know about her specifically." Min-seok's control was fracturing, words coming faster. That operation, I inherited it from my father. I've been trying to dismantle it for 2 years, but it's not as simple as just shutting it down. There are people, powerful people, who profit from it. And you're one of them. The realization hit like a second bullet. You profit from it. Not anymore. I stopped taking payments the moment I took over. I've been working with authorities quietly to identify victims and bring down the network from the inside. His hands reached for her, and she stepped back like his touch burned. Adaeze, I didn't know about Chioma until after you arrived. When Jae-min ran your background, her file came up in our system. I've had people searching for her since then. You've known for weeks. Her voice was rising. 4 weeks of captivity and manipulation, and falling for him crashing down at once. You've known my sister might have been trafficked by your organization, and you said nothing? I was trying to find her first, to have answers before I had to tell you the truth you'd hate me for. He looked desperate now, that controlled facade completely shattered. I'm not my father. I'm not that man anymore. But you were. Jiwoo's voice cut through like a knife. Tell her about Singapore, Min-seok. Tell her about the 15 women you personally delivered to that warehouse in 2020. Tell her how your promotion to family head was bought with African flesh. Shut up! Min-seok spun on her, and Adaeze saw murder in his eyes. You have no idea what you're talking about. I have every idea. I was there, remember? Your dutiful wife, watching you become the monster your father always wanted. Jiwoo turned back to Adaeze. I have files, evidence, everything you need to know about what happened to girls like your sister, and I have information on Chioma specifically. But I'll only share it if you come with me, away from him. She's not going anywhere with you. Min-seok's weapon was out now, not pointed but held a warning. You'll shoot your wife to keep your new pet? Jiwoo's laugh was bitter. How very on brand for you. Adaeze felt like she was drowning again. That same suffocating sensation from the platform, but worse now because she'd thought she'd found something to breathe for. Is my sister alive? Jiwoo's expression softened slightly, the first genuine emotion Adaeze had seen from her. I don't know, but I know where she was taken after she left the modeling agency. I know the route they use, the safe houses, the buyers. If she's alive, we can find her, but not if you stay with him. Don't listen to her. Min-seok's voice was rough, raw in a way she'd never heard. She's using your sister to manipulate you, to hurt me. That's what this is about. Revenge for a marriage that was dead before it started. Is it revenge if it's true? Jiwoo countered. Ask him, Adaeze. Ask him if girls like your sister were trafficked through his ports. Ask him if he knew and did nothing until it became politically convenient. Ask him if the reason Hae-won hates him is because he killed her sister for trying to expose the trafficking ring. The silence that followed was damning, Min-seok. Adaeze's voice was barely a whisper. Is that true? Did you kill someone trying to expose trafficking? Hae-won's sister was going to destroy everything. Min-seok's words came out mechanical, defensive. If she'd gone public, the entire network would have gone underground. We'd never find the victims, never prosecute the buyers. She would have sacrificed thousands of women for the sake of headlines. I made a choice. You murdered her. The words tasted like ash. I eliminated a threat to a larger operation. He wouldn't even give her the honesty of calling it what it was. Everything I've done has been to dismantle my father's empire from the inside, but that requires getting my hands dirty. It requires making impossible choices. Like shooting me? Adaeze laughed, and it sounded broken even to her own ears. Was that an impossible choice too? Or was I just collateral damage you decided to keep because I'm convenient guilt relief? You know that's not true. He moved toward her again, and this time she let him get close enough to see the desperation in his eyes. What I feel for you has nothing to do with guilt. You're the first real thing I've had in years, the first person who makes me want to be better than what I am. Better than a trafficker and a murderer? She stepped back. That's a pretty low bar, Min-seok. I can find your sister. His words came fast, urgent. Give me time. Don't go with Jiwoo. She doesn't care about Chioma. She's using you as a weapon against me. Maybe I want to be used as a weapon against you. Adaeze looked at him, really looked at him and saw him clearly for the first time, not the savior who'd carried her bleeding from a platform, not the captor who'd kissed her like she was precious, just a man who'd made too many compromises with evil and called it strategy. Maybe that's exactly what you deserve. If you leave with her, I can't protect you. Min-seok's voice dropped low, dangerous. Hae-won is still out there. She knows your face. Without my protection, you're dead within a week. Then I guess I'll die. Adaeze picked up the photograph from the bed, looked at the smiling version of the man before her, and handed it back to Jiwoo. But at least I'll die looking for my sister instead of falling for the man whose organization destroyed her. Something broke in Min-seok's expression. Don't do this. Please, I'm begging you. You kept me prisoner for 4 weeks. Adaeze's voice was steady now, cold. You shot me, kidnapped me, made me a target in your war, and you never once told me the truth about what happened to Chioma. You don't get to beg now. I was trying to protect you from this. His hand gestured between them, encompassing everything. From knowing what I am, what I've done, I was trying to find her, before you had to know the worst. You were protecting yourself. The truth of it settled between them like a verdict, because you knew if I found out, I'd hate you. And you were right. Jiwoo stood, satisfaction evident in every line of her body. Smart girl, my car is waiting. Pack whatever you need or don't. I'll provide everything. She's not leaving. Min-seok's weapon rose, and for a terrifying moment, Adaeze thought he might actually use it. I won't let you take her. You'll shoot me in front of her? Jiwoo's eyebrows rose. Prove every terrible thing I just told her about you? Go ahead, show her the monster. The standoff stretched, Min-seok's weapon steady, but his eyes betraying him. Adaeze saw the moment he realized he'd lost Saw the exact second his control crumbled, and something like grief replaced it. If I lower this weapon, if I let you walk out that door, I need you to know something. Min-seok's eyes found Adaeze's, and the raw emotion in them made her chest ache despite everything. I love you. I know I have no right to. Know it changes nothing about what I am or what I've done, but you should know that in 32 years of calculated survival, you're the only thing I've ever felt was worth destroying myself for. Don't. Adaeze's voice cracked. Don't make this harder. I'm not trying to. He lowered the weapon, holstered it with shaking hands. I'm just telling you the truth I should have led with. I love you, and if leaving me is what it takes to find your sister, then go. But know that Hae-won will come for you. And when she does, call me please. Even if you hate me, even if you never want to see me again, call me when you're in danger. Touching. Jiwoo's voice dripped sarcasm. We're leaving now, before this gets any more pathetic. Adaeze moved toward the door, each step feeling like walking through concrete. She didn't look back, couldn't. Because if she did, she'd see that broken expression on his face, and she'd remember his hands gentle on her wounds, his body shielding hers from bullets, his kiss tasting of blood and desperation, and something that felt dangerously close to real. The hallway seemed longer than she remembered. Guards stepped aside, not looking at her. Trained to ignore the personal drama of their employer, Jae-min stood near the exit, platinum hair catching the light, his expression carefully neutral, but his eyes finding hers with something that might have been sympathy or warning. She couldn't tell which. Miss Nwachukwu. His voice was quiet. For what it's worth, he's been looking for your sister since day 3. Every resource he has. That's not a lie. But everything else was. She kept walking. Jiwoo's car was exactly what Adaeze expected. Black, expensive, bulletproof. The kind of luxury that came from profiting off human suffering, probably. She climbed in, and the door closing felt like sealing a tomb. Smart choice. Jiwoo settled into the seat beside her, pulling out a tablet. I have files on your sister. Everything I could find. Fair warning, some of it isn't pleasant. Just show me. The file opened, and Adaeze's world collapsed. Photos of Chioma, but not the vibrant sister she remembered. Chioma, thin and hollow-eyed, wearing clothes that barely qualified as clothing, standing in lineups with other girls. All African, all young, all trapped. These were taken at a warehouse in Busan 2 years ago. Jiwoo's voice was clinical, detached. She was part of a shipment being prepared for buyers in Japan. This is the last confirmed sighting I have of her. 2 years ago. Adaeze's hands shook holding the tablet. She's been gone 3 years. What happened after this? The shipment was raided. South Korean authorities acting on a tip. Most of the girls were recovered and repatriated, but 6 were already gone, moved before the raid. Your sister was one of them. Where? The word came out sharp, desperate. Unknown. But I have contacts. People who worked in the network before Min-seok started his so-called cleanup operation. People who know the routes, the buyers, the safe houses. We can trace her movements. It'll take time, money, and cooperation with some extremely dangerous people, but it's possible. Why are you helping me? Adaeze looked at Jiwoo, really looked at her. What do you get out of this? Jiwoo's smile was cold. Revenge pure and simple. Min-seok destroyed my life, my reputation, everything I built. I want him to suffer. And watching him fall for you, seeing that cold bastard finally care about something, that's my opportunity. You're the knife I'll twist in his heart. That's sick. That's justice. Jiwoo took the tablet back. He made me love him, then showed me exactly what kind of monster he was. Too late to save myself, but not too late to save others from making my mistake. You're welcome. The car pulled up to a luxury apartment building, all glass and steel and money. Jiwoo's safe house, apparently. Adaeze followed her inside, into an elevator that climbed endlessly, opening into a penthouse that overlooked the entire city. Seoul spread before them like a glittering lie, beautiful and rotten underneath. You'll stay here. Jiwoo gestured around. I have security, but they're paid to protect you, not imprison you. You're free to leave whenever you want. I'm not Min-seok. No, you're just using me like a weapon. Adaeze walked to the window, pressing her hand against the cold glass. At least he was honest about keeping me prisoner. Was he, though? Jiwoo poured herself a drink from the bar. Or did he just make you think captivity was protection? Make you think his control was care? That's his specialty, taking broken things and making them dependent on him. I'm not broken. The words came out automatic, defensive. Weren't you? Jiwoo's reflection appeared in the glass beside hers. Standing on that platform ready to jump? He found you at your most vulnerable and exploited it. That's what he does. That's what he did to me. Adaeze didn't have an answer for that, because maybe Jiwoo was right. Maybe everything she'd felt was just trauma bonding, Stockholm syndrome dressed up as connection. Maybe the man who'd kissed her like she was salvation was just a monster who'd gotten good at wearing human skin. Her phone buzzed. Min-seok. She'd expected him to call, to text, to try to change her mind, but the message was just 2 words. I'm sorry, not I love you. Not come back. Just, I'm sorry. Like he'd already accepted losing her. Like he'd already started grieving. Block him. Jiwoo's voice came from behind her. Don't give him a way back in. Adaeze stared at the message, finger hovering over the block button. But she couldn't make herself press it. Because despite everything, despite the trafficking and the murder and the lies, some stupid part of her still heard his voice saying, I love you, like it was being torn out of him, still felt his hands gentle on her wounds, still tasted his kiss like desperation and truth. I need to shower. She pocketed the phone without blocking him. Can you show me to my room? The apartment had 3 bedrooms, all expensively furnished and soullessly perfect. Jiwoo left her alone, and Adaeze stood underwater hot enough to hurt, trying to wash away 4 weeks of captivity and confusion, and falling for someone she should have hated from the start. When she emerged, there were clothes laid out on the bed. Designer, expensive, exactly her size, just like Min-seok had provided. Different captor, same gilded cage. She dressed and found Jiwoo in the living room, surrounded by files and photographs spread across the coffee table. All evidence, all damning, all pointing to Min-seok's organization as a key player in trafficking networks across Asia. This is everything I have. Jiwoo gestured to the papers. Names, dates, locations, bank transfers. Enough to destroy him completely if it goes public. But that's not what I want. What do you want? Adaeze sat across from her, exhaustion making her bones feel heavy. I want him to destroy himself. Jiwoo's eyes glittered with something dark and satisfied. I want him to make a choice between protecting you and protecting his empire. I want him to sacrifice everything he's built for a woman who'll never forgive him. That's the revenge I want. You're insane. I'm justified. Jiwoo leaned forward. He killed the woman I was, turned me into this. The least he can do is suffer the same transformation. Before Adaeze could respond, her phone rang. Not Min-seok. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Miss Nwachukwu. The voice was female, Korean, unfamiliar. My name is Hae-won. I believe we have a mutual enemy. Adaeze's blood went cold. How did you get this number? I have eyes everywhere, including in Han Ji-woo's organization. I know you left Min-seok. I know why. And I want to help you find your sister. Why would you help me? Adaeze glanced at Ji-woo, who'd gone very still, listening, because hurting Min-seok is my life's work. Hae-won's voice was smooth, almost friendly. And you, Miss Nwachukwu, are the perfect weapon. He's exposed now, vulnerable, because of you. If we work together, we can destroy him completely. I don't want to destroy him. The words came out before Adaeze could stop them. I just want to find my sister. Those goals aren't mutually exclusive. Hae-won paused. I know where Chioma is. Not was. Is. Present tense. Alive. The room spun. You're lying. I'm not. I've been tracking Min-seok's trafficking network for 3 years, trying to expose it, trying to save the women trapped in it. Your sister is in a facility in Osaka. High security, heavily guarded, serving exclusively elite clients. But I know how to get her out. I just need your cooperation. What kind of cooperation? Adaeze's voice was barely a whisper. Min-seok has something I need. Access codes to his father's offshore accounts. Accounts that fund the entire trafficking operation across 3 countries. With those codes, I can freeze the money, collapse the network, free hundreds of women, including your sister. But he'll only give those codes to someone he trusts completely, someone he'd sacrifice everything for. Me. The trap was obvious, elegant, perfect. You, Hae-won confirmed. Get me those codes, and I'll get you your sister alive, safe, free. That's my offer. And what's to stop you from killing me the moment you have what you want? Adaeze looked at Jiwoo, who was shaking her head violently, mouthing, Don't trust her. Nothing. Hae-won's honesty was almost refreshing, except that I've made this same promise to 17 other women looking for sisters, daughters, friends trapped in that network. And I've kept everyone your sister is inventory to them. She's a person to me. That's the difference between me and Min-seok. The line went dead. Adaeze sat frozen, phone still pressed to her ear. Hae-won's words echoing Chioma was alive. Alive. After 3 years of not knowing, of fearing the worst, of grief without a body to bury. Alive. Don't even think about it. Jiwoo's voice cut through her thoughts. Hae-won is a liar and a psychopath. She'll use you and kill you both. But what if she's telling the truth? Adaeze met her eyes. What if Chioma is alive and I can save her? At what cost? Jiwoo demanded. Betraying Min-seok, getting those codes, that's essentially declaring war. He'll come for you. And if you survive that, Hae-won will kill you to eliminate witnesses. There's no version of this where you win. There's a version where my sister comes home. Adaeze stood, pacing. That's winning. That's suicide. Jiwoo followed her. Listen to me. I hate Min-seok more than you can imagine. But Hae-won, she's worse. She killed 17 people in one night because they stood between her and revenge. She doesn't save women. She uses them as shields and discards them when they're no longer useful. How do I know you're not just saying that to keep me away from her? Adaeze spun on her. How do I know this isn't about your revenge, about keeping me as your weapon against him? Because I'm giving you this. Jiwoo opened a safe hidden behind a painting, pulled out a thick folder. Everything I know about Hae-won. Her real history, not the victim story she sells. Read it, then decide who to trust. Adaeze took the folder, hands shaking. Inside were police reports, psychiatric evaluations, crime scene photos. Hae-won's sister, the one Min-seok had killed, wasn't a crusading journalist trying to expose trafficking. She was Hae-won's partner in a rival trafficking organization. Min-seok hadn't killed a hero, he'd eliminated competition. The sister's real crime? Trying to monopolize the network, cutting out other families, making the entire operation visible to authorities in her greed. She'd been a threat not to the victims, but to the carefully balanced criminal ecosystem. And Hae-won's revenge wasn't about justice, it was about lost profit and wounded pride. She's lying about saving women. Adaeze's voice was hollow. She's worse than him. They're all worse than him. Jiwoo sat beside her. That's the truth he'll never tell you. Yes, he inherited a trafficking network. Yes, he profited from it. Yes, his hands are soaked in blood. But he's also the only one actually trying to dismantle it from inside, because everyone else, they want it to grow. So, what do I do? Adaeze dropped the folder. If I can't trust Min-seok because he's a liar, can't trust you because you want revenge, and can't trust Hae-won because she's a monster, who do I trust? Yourself. Jiwoo's voice was surprisingly gentle. Trust yourself. What does your gut tell you? Adaeze closed her eyes. Her gut said Chioma was alive, said Hae-won's information was real, even if her motives were rotten, said that if she had even a chance to save her sister, she had to take it, no matter the cost. Her gut also said that Min-seok's love was real, even if everything else was a lie. I need to see him. The words surprised her even as she said them. I need to look him in the eye and ask him about the codes. That's a terrible idea. Jiwoo stood. The moment you walk back in there, he'll lock you down. You'll never leave again. Then I'll make sure I can leave. Adaeze pulled out her phone. I'll tell him I'll come back, but only if he meets me somewhere neutral, public, where he can't control everything. He'll never agree to that. But when Adaeze texted, his response came in seconds. Where and when? They met in a tea house in Insadong, traditional and quiet, the kind of place where violence would be immediately visible and therefore unlikely Min-seok arrived alone, which was its own statement. No guards, no protection, just him in a simple black suit looking like he hadn't slept in 3 days. He sat across from her, and the silence stretched like a physical thing. You came. His voice was rough, unused. I have questions. Adaeze kept her hands wrapped around her teacup to stop them shaking, and I need honest answers. Ask. He looked at her like she was water and he was dying of thirst. Anything. Hae-won called me. She says she knows where Chioma is alive, in Osaka. She says she can get her out if I give her access codes to your father's offshore accounts. Adaeze watched his face carefully. Is any of that true? Min-seok's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Pain. Recognition. Yes. All of it. You knew? The betrayal was fresh and sharp. You knew where my sister was and you didn't tell me? I found out yesterday. He leaned forward. I was going to tell you, was planning the extraction myself, but then you left. And I thought if I told you Hae-won was right, you'd run straight into her trap. What trap? Hae-won doesn't want to save your sister. She wants to use her as bait. Min-seok's hands clenched on the table. The facility in Osaka is real. Chioma is there. But the moment we move on it, Hae-won will kill everyone inside. Your sister included. She's trying to force my hand, make me sacrifice the codes to save one person so she can destroy the entire network, not to free the women, to take it over. Jiwoo told me about Hae-won's sister. Adaeze met his eyes. About what she really was. Then you know I'm not the villain Hae-won painted. He reached across the table, stopped just short of touching her hand. I've made terrible choices, hurt people who didn't deserve it, profited from suffering. But I'm trying to be better, trying to dismantle what my father built. And I've been working on getting Chioma out safely for days. Why should I believe you? But even as Adaeze asked, she knew the answer. Because despite everything, despite the lies and the captivity and the blood, she did believe him, could see the truth carved into every line of exhaustion on his face. Because I'm going to give you the codes. Min-seok pulled out a piece of paper, slid it across. Not to Hae-won, to you. Those accounts, that money, it's yours to do with what you want. Freeze it, donate it, burn it. I don't care. Just don't give them to Hae-won. Adaeze stared at the paper. Numbers and letters that represented millions, possibly billions, the entire financial foundation of the trafficking network. He was handing it to her without conditions, without guarantees she wouldn't destroy him with it. If I take this, Hae-won will come for me. Adaeze's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. Min-seok's eyes were dark with acceptance. She will. And if you want my protection, if you want to come back, my door is open. But if you don't, if you never want to see me again, I'll assign you a security team, the best I have. They'll keep you alive without keeping you prisoner. That's my promise. And Chioma? I have a team moving on the Osaka facility in 48 hours. Extraction, not raid. We get the women out alive, relocate them safely, then we hit Hae-won's operation while she's distracted. He pulled out another paper, an address. This is where we'll bring your sister. You can be there when she arrives. See for yourself that I keep my promises. Adaeze looked at the codes, at the address, at the man who'd shot her and saved her and lied to her and maybe, impossibly, loved her. Why are you doing this? Because you were right. Min-seok's voice cracked slightly. I should have led with the truth, should have told you about Chioma the moment I knew. Should have been honest about what I am, instead of letting you discover it the worst possible way. I can't undo that. But I can give you this. Your sister. The truth. The choice I should have given you from the start. The choice to what? To decide if a monster who's trying to be better is worth the risk. He stood, preparing to leave. 48 hours. The address is secure. Come or don't. But either way, I'm bringing your sister home. He walked out, leaving Adaeze alone with paper that could destroy empires and an address that promised the impossible. She sat there for an hour, tea going cold, trying to make sense of choices that felt impossible. Her phone rang. Hae-won again. Did he give you the codes? No preamble, no pretense, no. The lie came easily. He refused. Then we'll have to take them by force. Hae-won's voice was satisfied, like she'd been expecting this. I have people moving on his compound tonight. If you want your sister to live, you'll tell me where he keeps the physical copies of those codes. I don't know where. Yes, you do. Hae-won cut her off. You lived there for 4 weeks. You've seen his office, his safe, his private spaces. You know where he keeps his secrets. Tell me, and your sister walks free refuse, and I'll kill her myself just to make him watch. The line went dead again. Hae-won's signature move, leaving no room for argument or negotiation. Adaeze pulled out the codes Min-seok had given her, looked at them with new understanding. These weren't just financial access. They were a target. He'd given her the ammunition to destroy him, knowing Hae-won would come for it, knowing it painted a target on Adaeze's back, but he'd done it anyway because keeping her in the dark, keeping her safe through ignorance, that had failed before. This was trust, dangerous, possibly suicidal, but real. She called Ji-woo. I need you to get me into Min-seok's compound, tonight, before Hae-won's people attack. Are you insane? Ji-woo's voice was sharp. That's exactly where they'll hit. You'll be walking into a war zone. I know. Adaeze stood, leaving money on the table for tea she hadn't touched. But if I'm going to pick a side, I'm picking the monster who gave me the truth over the one who trades in lies. Can you get me in or not? You're choosing him. Ji-woo's voice was flat. After everything he's done, everything I showed you, you're choosing him. I'm choosing my sister, Adaeze corrected. If he's lying about the extraction, I'll have those codes to stop him. If Hae-won attacks, I'll be there to warn him. Either way, I'm done being a weapon for other people's revenge. I'm taking control. Then you're on your own. Ji-woo hung up. So Adaeze called the one person she thought might help. Jaemin answered on the first ring. Miss Nwachukwu. His voice was carefully neutral. I wondered when you'd call. Hae-won is moving on the compound tonight. I need to get back in. Need to warn him. The words came fast. Urgent. Can you help me? I can. A pause. Should I? What does that mean? It means I've watched him fall apart for 3 days. Jaemin's voice was quieter now, honest. Watched him nearly drink himself to death, refuse food, work until he collapsed. I've worked for him for 8 years. I've never seen him care about anything enough to let it destroy him. Until you. I'm not trying to destroy him. Adaeze's throat was tight. I'm trying to save my sister. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Jaemin's words echoed Jiwoo's, but meant something different. If you come back, if you walk into this knowing what he is, knowing what he's done, and you choose to stand beside him anyway, that might actually save him, or it might damn you both. But at least it'll be your choice. This was trust. Dangerous, possibly suicidal, but real. She called Jiwoo. I need you to get me into Min-seok's compound, tonight, before Hae-won's people attack. Are you insane? Jiwoo's voice was sharp. That's exactly where they'll hit. You'll be walking into a war zone. I know. Adaeze stood, leaving money on the table for tea she hadn't touched. But if I'm going to pick a side, I'm picking the monster who gave me the truth over the one who trades in lies. I'll send a car. 20 minutes. Don't make me regret this. The car arrived exactly on time, and Adaeze climbed in expecting guards or guns. Instead, it was just a driver, taking her through Seoul's night-bright streets toward the compound that had been her prison and her salvation. She clutched the codes in her pocket like a talisman, trying not to think about all the ways this could go catastrophically wrong. The compound was on high alert when they arrived, guards everywhere, weapons visible, a fortress preparing for siege. Jaemin met her at the entrance, platinum hair catching security lights. He doesn't know you're here. Jaemin led her inside. I thought you should have the element of surprise. Why are you helping me? Adaeze followed him through familiar halls. Because he gave you those codes. Jaemin glanced back. He doesn't trust easily, doesn't love at all usually, but he trusts you, loves you. And if there's a chance that's real, that something good can come from all this blood and violence, then maybe it's worth protecting. They reached Min-seok's office. The door was closed, light visible underneath. Jaemin knocked once, then opened it without waiting for a response. Min-seok stood at the window, silhouette against Seoul's lights, glass of whiskey in hand. He didn't turn. If this is about the Osaka operation, it's still a go. His voice was tired. Nothing's changed. Everything's changed. Adaeze spoke, and he spun so fast the whiskey sloshed. Hae-won is attacking tonight. She knows about the codes. She's coming for them. How do you... Understanding dawned. She called you, tried to use you to get information. She threatened to kill Chioma if I didn't help her. Adaeze stepped into the office, Jaemin closing the door behind her. So I came here instead, to warn you. You came back. Min-seok set down the glass carefully, like he was afraid sudden movement would make her vanish. After everything, knowing what I am, you came back. I came to stop a war. Adaeze pulled out the codes. And to tell you, I'm not giving these to anyone, not Hae-won, not the authorities, not anyone, until my sister is safe. After that, I'm using them to shut down every trafficking operation connected to your father's network, every single one. And you're going to help me do it. That will take years. Min-seok moved closer, hope and disbelief warring in his expression. Cost millions. Make us targets for everyone who profits from that network. I know. Adaeze met his eyes. And I'm not doing it because I forgive you. I'm doing it because I've seen what you are when you're trying to be better. And that's the version of you I'm willing to work with. Not love, not trust, just work with. To save women like my sister. That's more than I deserve. His hand reached out, stopped just short of her face. But I'll take it. Whatever you're willing to give. However long you're willing to stay. I'm not staying. Adaeze stepped back. After Chioma is safe, after we dismantle the network, I'm gone. This isn't about us. It's about making sure what happened to her never happens again. Understood. The acceptance in his voice was genuine, and somehow that hurt worse than anger. Then let's get to work. The attack came at midnight. Hae-won's forces hit the compound with military precision, armed and coordinated, clearly expecting to find Min-seok unprepared. Instead, they found a fortress ready for war. Adaeze stayed in the secure room, protected by layers of security, listening to gunfire and explosions that shook the walls. Jae-min stayed with her, weapon drawn, monitoring communications. "We're holding them." His voice was tense. "But barely. She brought more people than we anticipated." "Where's Min-seok?" Adaeze couldn't stop herself from asking, leading the defense. Jae-min didn't look away from his screen. He's always been better at violence than strategy. It's his element. The battle raged for 2 hours. Then silence, sudden and complete. Jae-min's radio crackled. "We have Hae-won." Min-seok's voice came through, hard and satisfied. "Captured alive. Minimal casualties on our side. Clean up and secure the perimeter." Adaeze exhaled for what felt like the first time in hours. "Is it over?" "For tonight." Jae-min holstered his weapon. "But Hae-won has resources, allies. This won't be the end." They brought Hae-won to Min-seok's office in restraints, blood on her face from a split lip, but eyes still defiant. She saw Adaeze and laughed. "So you chose him after all?" Hae-won's voice was mocking. How predictable. Another woman falling for the monster. "I didn't choose him." Adaeze stood. "I chose my sister. The rest is just strategy." "Keep telling yourself that." Hae-won looked at Min-seok. "You know I have backup plans. Kill me, and they'll execute every woman in that Osaka facility, including Chioma. You'll never get them out in time." "Then it's a good thing I'm not going to kill you." Min-seok pulled out his phone, showed her a video. "While you were attacking my compound, my team was hitting your operation in Osaka. 17 women extracted and safe, including Chioma Nwachukwu. Your backup plans are irrelevant." The video showed women being led out of a building, guided by armed operatives wearing Min-seok's colors, and there, near the end, was Chioma. Thin, hollow-eyed, but alive. Walking. Free. Adaeze's knees buckled, and she would have fallen if Min-seok hadn't caught her. "She's alive. She's really alive. She's safe." Min-seok's arm steadied her. "In protective custody with my people. She'll be checked medically, debriefed, then brought to you. Tomorrow morning." Hae-won's expression cracked, rage replacing smug satisfaction. "You're going to regret this. Both of you." "Maybe." Min-seok looked at Adaeze, and something in his expression was final, resolved. "But I'll regret it having done the right thing? That's more than I used to be able to say." They handed Hae-won over to authorities, along with evidence of her trafficking operation, her attacks, her organization. Min-seok had been building a case for months, and tonight had given him everything he needed. Hae-won would spend the rest of her life in prison, her network would collapse, and Chioma was safe. Adaeze stood in Min-seok's garden at dawn, waiting, the same garden she'd sketched during captivity, adding birds that weren't there because she'd needed something beautiful to focus on, the same garden where she'd started falling for a monster who was trying to be a man. The car arrived and Chioma stepped out. 3 years older, marked by trauma, but alive breathing, real. They collided in the middle of the garden, holding each other so tight it hurt, crying and laughing and saying nothing because words were irrelevant. She was here, she was alive, that was everything. "I looked for you." Adaeze's voice broke. "For 3 years, I looked." "I know." Chioma pulled back, touching Adaeze's face like confirming she was real. "They told me you died. Said you'd killed yourself. I thought I'd lost you." "Never." Adaeze held her sister's hands. "You're stuck with me." They sat in the garden for hours, Chioma talking in fits and starts about what had happened, about the agency that had promised modeling and delivered hell, about the warehouse and the buyers and the nightmare she'd survived. Adaeze listened, holding her, trying not to show how much each word broke something inside her. Min-seok stayed away, giving them space, but Adaeze saw him watching from the window of his office. saw the expression on his face that said he understood exactly what he'd given her. The one thing that mattered more than revenge or justice or love. Her sister. Alive. That evening, Chioma was settled in a safe apartment with security, therapists, everything she needed to begin healing. It would take time, maybe years, but she was safe. That was what mattered. Adaeze found Min-seok in his office, staring at the same papers he'd been looking at for hours, seeing nothing. Thank you. The words felt inadequate for what he'd done. For bringing her home. I told you I would. He looked up, and the exhaustion in his face was profound. I always keep my promises to you. What happens now? Adaeze asked. Now I expect you to leave. Min-seok's voice was carefully neutral. You said after Chioma was safe, you'd go. I'm holding you to that. You're kicking me out? She hadn't expected that. I'm setting you free. He stood, moved toward her but stopped at a careful distance. Before I met you, I was content being what my father made me, a monster in a suit, doing monstrous things, calling it survival. But you made me want to be better, made me believe I could be. And if you stay, if you're here because you feel obligated or grateful or guilty, that's not better. That's just another form of captivity. So that's it? Adaze's throat was tight. You save my sister and kick me out? I save your sister and give you the choice I should have given you the night I shot you. Min-seok pulled an envelope from his desk. Money. Enough for you and Chioma to start over anywhere you want. New identities if you need them. Complete freedom. No strings, no obligations, no monster holding you prisoner. Adaeze took the envelope, felt the weight of it. Freedom. Paid for in blood and guilt and something that had almost been love. What about dismantling the network? You need those codes to do it. I'll find another way. Min-seok moved to the window, putting his back to her. I've been dismantling my father's empire for 2 years without those codes. I'll continue, but I won't use your sister's trauma as leverage to keep you here. I won't be that man anymore. And if I want to stay anyway? The words surprised her even as she said them. Not because I'm obligated. Not because of gratitude. Just because I've seen who you are when you're trying to be better. And I think maybe that version of you is worth fighting for. Min-seok went very still. Don't say that if you don't mean it. I mean it. Adaeze moved closer. I hate what you were, what you did, what you profited from. But I've also seen you give up power to save one person. Seen you hand me weapons to destroy you. Seen you keep promises when it would have been easier to lie. And I think maybe the man trying to climb out of the monster is someone I could learn to trust. Trust is a long way from love. He still hadn't turned to face her. I know. She touched his shoulder, felt him tense. But I've got time, and so do you, if you want it. Min-seok turned then, and the expression on his face was raw, vulnerable, dangerous in its hope. I want it. Want you. Want a chance to prove I can be worthy of the choice you're making, but I need you to understand what you're signing up for. My enemies won't stop. The trafficking network has powerful people who'll come for us. The authorities will eventually connect dots I've tried to hide. Staying with me means danger, violence, constant looking over your shoulder. It means being with someone whose past is soaked in blood. I know. Adaeze met his eyes. But I've been drowning in depression and grief for 3 years, walking dead, waiting for the courage to end it. You shot me, kidnapped me, lied to me. But you also made me want to live again, made me fight for something that mattered. If that means standing beside a monster trying to be better, then that's the price I'm willing to pay. You're insane. But he was smiling, real and genuine, transforming his face. Probably, she smiled back. But I've already survived your bullet. Everything else is just details. He kissed her then, and it was different from the desperate violence of the panic room. This was gentler, still intense, but with something like promise underneath. Like maybe they could build something real from the wreckage of everything that had brought them together. I love you. Min-seok said it against her mouth. I know I don't deserve to. No, it doesn't change what I am. But I love you. And I'll spend every day trying to be worthy of the choice you're making. I know. Adaeze pulled back enough to see his face. And someday, when you've proven the man is stronger than the monster, I'll say it back. Until then, you'll just have to be satisfied with me staying. I'll take it. He rested his forehead against hers, for however long you're willing to give it. 3 months later, Chioma was thriving in therapy, had started classes, was slowly becoming the sister Adaeze remembered. The trafficking network connected to Min-seok's father was systematically dismantled, 17 operations shut down, hundreds of women freed. It was slow, dangerous work, but it was work worth doing. And Adaeze stayed, not as a prisoner, not as an obligation, but as a partner in the work of transforming monsters into men. Some days were harder than others. Some days she looked at Min-seok and saw the man who'd shot her, the crime lord with blood on his hands. Other days, she saw the man who'd given up everything to save her sister, who was trying against all odds to be better than what he'd been born to be. Love was still a word she couldn't quite say. But trust, slowly, was being built. And maybe that was enough. Maybe trust was the foundation love could grow from, given time and effort and two broken people trying to be better together than they'd been apart. On the 6-month anniversary of the night he shot her, they went back to the subway platform. The same platform where Adaeze had stood ready to die, where Min-seok's bullet had changed everything. I should have died here. Adaeze stood at the edge, looking at the rails below. That was the plan. I should have let you. Min-seok stood beside her. Would have been simpler, kinder, maybe. But then you wouldn't have your chance at redemption. She smiled slightly, and I wouldn't have my sister back. No regrets? He asked. Plenty of regrets. She took his hand. But not about surviving. Not about this. They stood there in silence. Two people bound together by violence and survival, and the slow, painful work of becoming better than their worst moments. It wasn't a fairy tale. There was no happily ever after written in stone. Just two damaged people choosing each other, day by day, moment by moment, building something real from the wreckage of everything that had almost destroyed them both. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. Family, that's where we leave them. Not a perfect ending, not a guaranteed happy one, but a real one. Adaeze survived, Chioma came home, and a monster learned to be a man. Or at least started learning. The rest, that's up to them. And sometimes the most powerful love stories aren't about the ending. They're about the choice to stay when leaving would be easier. The choice to fight for someone who's fighting to be better. That's the story. That's the truth. If this one broke you and rebuilt you, hit that like button and subscribe to Afro Korean drama stories, because between Seoul's shadows and Africa's strength, more untold stories are waiting. More hearts will break. More love will be dangerous, and you don't want to miss a single one. Until next time, family. Annyeong.